3 men, 3 double albums, 3 completely different ideas of what rap music could and should be. Drake gave us 25 tracks of certified streamer crack and one of the most historically awkward paternity reveals in entertainment history. Kendrick Lamar gave us 18 tracks of psychological warfare dressed in therapy speak and Sampha chords. And J. Cole, bless his heart, gave us a 2-disc philosophical dissertation that his professors at St. John's probably wish they could cite. Let's get one thing straight right out of the gate. Not all double albums are created equal. Some are masterpieces, some are shopping lists accidentally set to a beat, and some are just a rapper's therapist bill disguised as an album rollout. We are here today to settle once and for all which of hip-hop's most ambitious, bloated, emotionally exhausting, and occasionally genius double albums actually deserves to be called the greatest. Scorpion arrived in the summer of 2018 like a man who desperately needed to explain himself. Pusha T had just carpet-bombed Drake's reputation with the story of Adidon, revealing that Aubrey Graham had a secret son Adonis with Sophie Brousseau. Drake's response: drop 25 songs and address it in track 21. That's like your house burning down and spending 2 hours rearranging the furniture before you call the fire department. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers arrived in 2022 after a 5-year silence that the internet treated like the second coming. And when it landed heavy. Kendrick wasn't clearing his name. He was clearing his conscience, processing childhood trauma, cancel culture, toxic masculinity, religious hypocrisy, and a very complicated relationship with fame and responsibility. This is not an album you put on at a cookout. This is an album you put on when you're staring at your ceiling at 2 a.m., questioning your entire personality. The Falloff was J. Cole's long-promised magnum opus, a project he'd been teasing for years as his final hip-hop statement. And true to form, Cole treats retirement the way most people treat diets, full of conviction and absolutely unconvinced of its own timeline. But the purpose here is grandeur, a rapper wrapping up a legacy, making peace with what he built, and handing the mic to the next generation with a handshake so firm it leaves marks. Round 1, who actually came to rap? This is where things get brutal and honest, and maybe a little personal. Let's start with Drake. Drake is a gifted songwriter. He's not a lyricist in the traditional sense, and on Scorpion, he largely doesn't pretend to be. His bars are conversational, emotionally intelligent, and built for mass consumption. I wasn't hiding my kid from the world, I was hiding the world from my kid is genuinely a great line. It's vulnerable, it's human, it's also the kind of line that reads better on a fridge magnet than in a rap verse. Scorpion's lyrics are more confessional pop music with flows than technical rap. And look, that's a valid artistic choice. Just don't be surprised when Kendrick shows up with a lyrical flamethrower. Mr. Morale is Kendrick processing everything: survivor's guilt, fame, family trauma, therapy, cancel culture, the music industry, with the kind of lyrical precision that makes other rappers consider career changes. N95 is a social commentary masterpiece. Auntie Diaries is a genuinely complex, brave, and beautifully executed exploration of gender identity and family. Crown is heartbreaking. The man writes characters, not just rhymes. He builds worlds with syllables. He is not rapping at you, he is rapping through you. J. Cole on The Fall Off is a craftsman at the height of his powers. Cole has never been a flashy writer. He is the rapper who shows up on time, does the job immaculately, and does not require applause. His technical precision is staggering. His internal rhyme schemes on The Fall Off are the kind of thing you discover on a third listen and think, oh, he did that on purpose. The album is lyrically airtight in a way that rewards patience. Cole's pen game on this album is undeniably elite. Writing from Biggie and Tupac's perspectives, interpolating Outkast, a reverse time-lapse of his own life. The man studied, he did the homework. He turned it in, he just also turned in a few extra unnecessary pages nobody asked for. Cole's operating at a level of technical precision that borders on the academic, internal rhyme schemes that make English professors weep, syllabic patterns that feel almost mathematical. He meditates on legacy, rap's evolution, his own contradictions, and the weight of being considered the voice of reason in a genre that doesn't always want reason. J. Cole raps like a man who did the assigned reading, wrote the essay, and then went back to reread the primary sources just to make sure. On The Fall Off, the craft is undeniable. Round 2. Thematic depth and concept. Drake split Scorpion into side A and side B. two distinct worlds, two personalities. Side A is rapper Drake, hard production, bars, trap beats, the guy who wants to be in the hip hop Hall of Fame conversation alongside Jay-Z. Side B is Aubrey Drake, R&B, slow jams, feelings, vulnerability. And here's the thing, this duality isn't some marketing gimmick. This is literally who this man is. He came into hip hop as a rapper and a singer. People picked a side. Drake said both. It's both, always has been. So what does Scorpion mean ultimately? It means that Drake, a man who was publicly embarrassed, exposed, and dragged across the entire internet, looked at all of that chaos and turned it into the most commercially successful album of his career at that point. It means he understood something that most artists don't. Your biggest vulnerability put into art honestly and without pretending becomes your greatest weapon. But Kendrick's Mr. Morale contains one of the most sustained conceptual visions in recent rap history. The album is structured almost like a therapy session, complete with the sound of his therapist's voice, recurring motifs, and the deliberate unease of watching someone dismantle themselves in real time. He is processing generational trauma, the weight of being a symbol, the failure to be perfect for people who have built a church around you. This is not a rap album that happens to have themes. The themes are the architecture, everything else is built inside them. Disc 1 is Kendrick with his armor still on. He's aware something is wrong. He started therapy, but he's still performing, still stepping through life with his chest out. Kendrick analyzing the world, his relationships, and his flaws, but from a safe distance. He's honest, but not yet fully exposed. Disc 2 is where the mask comes completely off. This is the real therapy session, painful, messy, and ultimately freeing. Disc 2 is Kendrick going all the way in, confronting childhood trauma, family abuse, his own biases, and ultimately choosing peace over the burden of being a legend. Both discs address problems in American society, homophobia, stereotypical black culture, traumas that were never addressed, but the album is masterfully executed to deliver these messages without overwhelming the listener. J. Cole's controversial apology to Kendrick Lamar in 2024 and the ensuing backlash and endless debates about his place in hip-hop's Big Three inspired him to expand the Fall Off into a double-disc album. Cole apologizing to Kendrick may have been the best career move he ever made, because instead of getting bodied on wax, which let's be honest was a very real possibility after Like That, he turned that humiliation into fuel. He went back to the lab, expanded his concept, and made a double album. Kendrick won the battle, Cole won something else. Pain turned into purpose, embarrassment turned into art. That's either the most beautiful thing in hip-hop or the biggest cope in music history. The Fall Off tells the story of two visits to Cole's home city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, once at age 29 and again at age 39. That's it. That's the whole concept. 2 trips home, 10 years apart, same city, different man. But before you say that's it, let me explain why this is actually kind of profound. His first project started with him leaving home. His last project is about coming back. The come up, then the fall off, 19 years old heading out, 29 and 39 years old heading back. That's a full circle. That's a complete story arc. That is storytelling on a level that most rappers don't even attempt. Disc 29 is marked by urgency and hunger, with verses that emphasize proving oneself, sharpening skill, and navigating the pressure of expectation. J. Cole wrote Disc 39 gives insight into his mindset during a similar trip home, this time as a 39-year-old man, older and a little closer to peace, not at peace, not fully healed, just closer. I actually think that's the most honest thing a rapper has ever said on an album rollout. At 39, Cole has the wife, the kids, the label, the legacy. He doesn't need to prove anything anymore, and you can feel that in how Disc 39 sounds compared to Disc 29. Cole stated that The Fall Off was a double album made with intentions to be his last. The two discs essentially mirror each other. The same man, the same hometown, 10 years apart, capturing how fame, love, purpose, and peace evolve across a decade of life. It's less a rap album and more a meditation on who you are versus who you thought you'd become. J. Cole built The Fall Off around a thesis that is frankly uncommon in rap. mortality, legacy, and the question of what you leave behind when the applause stops. Cole has always been rap's philosopher in residence, and here he leans into that fully. The album wrestles seriously with generational wealth, the burden of greatness, and the weird loneliness of being at the top for so long that you have outlasted your own cultural moment. It is wise, considered, and occasionally moving. Cole is basically writing his own critical obituary while still very much alive. Points for bravery. The fall off is both a title and a question. What if the fall is not failure, but a necessary descent? Cole treats his own irrelevance as a philosophical inquiry rather than a crisis. Round 3, production and sound design. Scorpion's production is pristine. Drake has always had an ear for sound, and working with producers like 40 and Boy Wonder, the album flows between trap bangers and R&B lushness with an almost cinematic ease. Side A is largely rap, side B is largely singing, and somehow even when the content thins out, the sonics never disappoint. Songs like God's Plan, In My Feelings, and Nonstop are sonic masterclasses in modern pop rap architecture. This is music engineered for billion stream numbers, and it works beautifully, infuriatingly. Mr. Morale's production, helmed largely by Soundwave, Beach Noise, and an incredible array of collaborators, is deliberately uncomfortable. It's chaotic jazz chords sitting next to Atlanta trap. It's gospel samples crashing into distorted bass. Kendrick doesn't want you to relax. He wants the music to feel as unsettled as the content. N95 opens like a punch. We Cry Together is so viscerally uncomfortable that people reportedly skip it, which means it worked exactly as intended. The beat on Savior is legitimately dizzying, rhythms, vocal work, and sound effects spinning in a circle like a trap Ferris wheel. Father Time's keyboard loop is so beautiful it should be illegal. The Florence and the Machine sample kicking off We Cry Together before all chaos breaks loose, cinematic, genuinely cinematic. The Fall Off features some of the most gorgeous beat selection of Cole's career. The production has a cinematic grandeur to it, lush orchestration, organic drums, and that signature warm Cole aesthetic cranked to its highest possible setting. It's the sound of a man making his final statement with all the budget and craft he's accumulated over a career. Some tracks hit so hard sonically that they'd still impress you with no words at all. Round 4, the final round, replay value and longevity. A double album lives or dies by replay value. Because let's be real, not everyone makes it to the end, even for their biggest fans. The albums that last are the ones that reward repeated listening, that reveal new layers, that feel whole rather than scattered. Scorpion has tremendous surface replay value. God's Plan will be playing at parties until the sun collapses. In My Feelings generated an international dance challenge that baffled and delighted in equal measure, and Nice for What is functionally a certified anthem. But return to the album as an album, the full 90-minute experience, and the cracks appear. The bloat reveals itself. The second disc in particular blurs into a kind of warm ambient Drakeness that is pleasant but not pressing. The side A and side B format is a smart structural decision, but it doesn't fully solve the problem that some of these songs simply did not need to make the cut. Mr. Morale is deliberately difficult. This is an album you might only return to when you're in a specific emotional state, and that's a feature, not a bug. But in terms of pure replay value, it's a harder listen than either of its competitors. Some tracks demand a lot of you. That said, each re-listen uncovers something new, a lyrical detail missed, a production flourish that only registers the fourth time around, a thematic connection between tracks that suddenly becomes obvious. It's one of those albums that gets better with time and emotional maturity, which is annoying but also brilliant. Mr. Morale is the most challenging and the most rewarding of the three. It is genuinely difficult in places. Kendrick asks you to sit with discomfort, with moral complexity, with the idea that maybe your faves, including him, are flawed humans. But it is also the album that grows the most with repeated listens. Tracks that confused on first play reveal themselves as master strokes. This album grows with you, and that is the rarest thing in popular music. Kendrick's album does not get easier, it actually gets harder. In the best possible way, each listen reveals another layer of intention, another thread of meaning you missed because you were still processing the one before it. This is the album's great formal trick. It is emotionally demanding in a way that keeps pulling you back, not despite its difficulty, but because of it. Mr. Morale is the album that demands to be returned to precisely because it resists resolution. You finish it and you are not sure what you feel, so you play it again. And again, this in hip-hop is the mark of real artistic ambition. The fall-off rewards the patient. On first listen, it can feel demanding. Cole is not interested in making it easy for you, but repeat listens reveal layering and intentionality that younger rap albums simply don't have. This is a slow burn of an album, and in a world of instant gratification, slow burns are both more impressive and more alienating. The fall off, despite its length, maintains a remarkably tight sense of purpose across both discs. Cole clearly had a vision for exactly how this thing would flow, and every song earns its place. It's cohesive in the way that classic concept albums are. You feel the arc, the intention, the hand of an artist who planned every single move. It rewards a listener who stays for the whole thing greatly. The fall off is built for returning. It is an album that gets richer with age and attention, the kind of project where you discover something new on the 8th listen that was always there, quietly waiting. This is Cole's gift. His music operates on delayed release like a time capsule that only opens after you have lived with it for long enough. It will age the best of the three in the way that well-crafted furniture ages, and not dramatically, just more beautifully. Here's the final truth. All three of these men are generational talents, and all three of these double albums contain genuine moments of greatness. Drake's Scorpion is a commercial titan, a perfect example of an artist at the height of his popular powers, making music that billions of people connected with. Don't let the "it's bloated" discourse make you forget that. J. Cole's The Fall Off is a career-defining masterwork of craft, a hip-hop dissertation delivered by a man who truly loves the art form more than he loves attention. In a fairer, quieter world, it would be celebrated as one of the all-time great rap exit statements. But Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers does something that the other two don't. It doesn't try to entertain you. It doesn't try to impress you. It doesn't care whether you like it. It exists to be honest, brutally, painfully, irreversibly honest about what it means to be human, damaged, loved, flawed, and still standing. That kind of artistic courage is rare. In rap, it's nearly extinct.